Hey there, listeners. AI and actually technology is transforming business real fast. But here's the question that no one wants to answer. Who the heck owns AI? Is it the board? Is it the CEO? Or is it being dumped on IT and technology teams while everyone else crosses their fingers hoping it's going to go well? It's time for us to have that kind of conversation right now in relation to that question. Let's discuss.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos.
Welcome to the Ask Dennis episode. This is a freestyle episode where I'm asked a question by our listeners, or I share my thoughts, experiences, and insights from working with many leaders around the globe. Hey listeners, it's great to be with you again in this session and with this episode. And we're going to dive into a question around AI that's coming up more and more in boardrooms, executive teams, leadership forums, out there in the market. People are talking about AI a lot, but in particular, this question. I remember that I always talk about there's a lot of noise out there and a lot of people and speculation and people talking about things. But remember just a few years ago, we were talking about something called cloud. And if you weren't in the cloud, your business was in trouble, and people were talking about it. Today, we're talking about AI. And so the question that keeps coming up that I talk to people about, but I want to ask more of, which is, who the heck owns AI in your organization? Is it the board? Is it the CEO? Is it your executive team? Or has it been quietly, maybe not even quietly, has it been thrown over the fence to the IT technology department? And sometimes what actually happens is that there's this vague kind of message that is actually given to that IT and technology department, which is, hey, go figure it out. Go and work it out. And that tends to be the kind of brief that they're getting. You know what? This isn't just a technology kind of conversation. Because you see, AI is not just about technology. It's about strategy, risk, people, culture, customer experience, and leadership. And yet, many leaders still see AI as something that the tech people deal with. That's actually a dangerous mindset. Now, in an organization, would you delegate your company strategy or your ethics or your culture to one department to do? Because it actually is shared or owned by all departments. So why is AI being treated that way? So why does this matter? Because you see, AI brings several things. It brings opportunities to automate, predict, innovate, scale. And I'm seeing it being used that way to automate, to innovate, and to scale. And I'm seeing organizations starting to take off big time. And it's a great tool to do that. So these are the opportunities. But there are some risks as well around ethics, bias, misinformation, job displacement, and trust. It also is around some leadership gaps. So when no one takes on the ownership, AI tends to become fragmented, I should say, or misused. And then sometimes if an organization strategically hasn't decided what they're going to do with AI, then you might, what we call, because we used to do this, like we used to have this, and even today I see it as well, organizations whereby there's that shadow. If a corporate isn't doing something and a business unit wants to do it, they sometimes will go off and get it done themselves. And so you tend to have the shadow thing happening. So shadow IT or shadow HR or shadow L&D, that type of thing. And so the thing here is that personally, I think AI should sit at the leadership table. That's with the board and that's with the CEO and the executive team. Why? Because it's too important not to. And I see organizations whereby you actually have an HR team, as an example, or an IT technology team, and they don't have a seat at the table. They report into the CEO or the CFO and the CIO and the CHRO, the Chief HR Resource, or PNC as they call it, People and Culture. They don't actually have a seat at the table, which means they don't actually have a voice at the table. But I think this AI as a tool, as a concept, it should actually have a seat at the table because it is too important for organizations not to be talking about it. So let's talk more about who should actually own AI. I think there are some key players around it. Let's talk about the board. They need to govern the ethics, the risk, and the compliance side of AI. Are they actually asking the right questions as well in relation to AI and what it is, where it's going, what do we need to do? Because are they actually then building guardrails or just watching from the sidelines? What I'm noticing is that many are saying, oh, hey, look, I'm hearing about this AI in the marketplace. Come on, let's do it as well. And it's not that they are being proactive with it, they're actually being reactive because they're reacting to whatever the market's doing or people are saying about it and so forth, because there is a lot of hype around it. Number two would be the CEO. AI needs to be seen as a core business strategy, not just a side project or an initiative. If the CEO isn't leading the charge or enabling others to do it, listeners, I think that's a red flag, and we need to be careful about that. The CEO needs to make sure that all aspects, all areas of the business are involved with this AI. The executive team, this is the third area. Each function, just as I said before, marketing, HR, operations, finance, as an example, must understand where AI can enhance business performance. And it's actually that's what it is. It's a tool to enhance things. And it's no longer enough just to say, hey, you throw up your hands in the air and you go, hey, that's not my area. That's not good enough. You can't do that anymore. This AI has to be owned by everyone in the organization. Now, the CIO, sometimes now they call it CTO, depending on the Chief Transformational or Technology Officer, or the IT and Technology Department. Yeah, they actually are the ones that help enable AI systems, but they shouldn't be owning the business strategy behind it all. They are the enablers. They are not the strategic drivers. And that's something that many organizations and leadership need to understand. See, the real problem I see is that there's this, I don't know how to say it, the hot potato effect, if I can put it that way. Right now, in many organizations, AI is being passed around like a hot potato. Oh, it's hot. I don't want it. Oh, you have it. And that's what's tending to happen. And no one wants to own it fully because I don't actually think they understand it. And I think there is this fear out there around risks. So they fear the risk of it. But also, there's something else that is actually happening so much and so quick is that they probably are overwhelmed. And they're also fearful again of how fast AI is moving. You know, for a lot of us, we need to adapt and with the change and so forth. And so if we are adapting, that's one thing. But by the time we do adapt and we learn about something, it's more than likely already out of date. AI tends to be moving even faster than that. And so there's that overwhelm for a lot of people. But guess what, listeners? Leaders, we don't get the luxury of avoiding change or adapting or opting out of it. But we do choose on the way that we show up. So if they do opt out of it, then they run the risk of becoming irrelevant and being left behind. Leadership is about leaning in. It's about getting curious. I love that word, curious. And taking responsibility. Even when it's all new, even when there's the unknown or we're not sure, we don't have all the answers. It's important that we do lean in, get curious, and take responsibility. So, what needs to happen now? Well, if you're listening to this as a leader, ask yourself these questions. Number one would be strategically, how will AI enhance our business? And I've also got to say to you this, that you need to make sure that your business, your core business, is strong. Because it doesn't matter what else you add to it. If the core business isn't strong, it's not going to work effectively. Number two, what is the strategy to implement AI into our business? So I think you need to be very clear and have a strategic plan, roadmap, whatever it is, to implement AI into your business. Number three, are we building with purpose, or are we just reacting to all the hype? Because I was talking about the hype before, right? The noise. Number four, where does AI sit in our organization or in the org chart? And is that really the right place? Because you may already have it in there to your organization today, but is it actually in the right place? Do we need to actually lift it into another higher level and have it more visible, and that we take more ownership as a wider organization rather than sitting in one place? Number five, do we have a cross-functional team actively leading that AI strategy? Number six, are our people trained and prepared to work with AI, or are they working against it? I think what's really important here is that for leaders to help people understand that AI actually has the ability to help enhance their work. There's a lot of people out there worried that it's going to replace them in the job. It's actually not the AI tool that will replace them. It's the ones who are using it will probably replace you or people in jobs and things like that. But I actually see it as a way to actually enhance people's work, the automation, all that sort of stuff as well. So there's a grand opportunity here for people to be retrained or upskilled in AI, and because there'll be a lot of work needed to work with AI and so forth going around that. So it's not just about, it's more or less easing people to understand that we can actually help people understand AI, but also help train them in those different areas as well. Because here's a statement I'm going to say to you all. If you're not leading AI, AI is going to lead you. And that's something for you to think about. AI isn't coming along. It's already here. And it's not just about technology issues. It's about leadership, full stop. It sits there. So the question is, who the heck owns AI in your organization? And more importantly, who's brave enough to step up and lead it properly? If today's episode got you thinking, then fantastic. I'm really happy. Because that's the reason why I do the podcast. This is the reason why I ask questions and I give you information, and I want to provoke your thinking, because I think a lot of leaders today are not thinking, or they're not thinking enough. In fact, they are not critically thinking. And we need leaders to be thinking all the time. So something else, I would love your thoughts on this topic. Tell me, or by messaging me on LinkedIn or emailing me, dennis@leadingchangepartners.com. I'd love to know your thoughts on who do you think should own AI in an organization. Now, if you're in an organization and you haven't discussed this topic, or you are discussing it, or you are an organization that's confused about things, I would love to come along and meet your board, your executive, your leadership team, and so forth, and talk about this topic. So feel free to reach out to me, and let's have a chat first, and let's see how I can actually help you. Leadership is changing, and it's changing in many ways in different areas. And listeners, if you're not, well, then you're going to have to change soon, because change is the one thing that we know is constant, and you do not want to run the risk of becoming irrelevant and being left behind. Hey, listeners, that's it for this episode. It's always a pleasure being with you. Thanks for joining me on the Leadership is Changing podcast. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.